Hey man, say man. Hey, top of the world to y'all, man, and better New Year to everybody. Um, we got a lot to get into, um, but we just go ahead and get into it, man. Back at it with some more of it. This video right here is concerning child support and the conditions around child support, and I need to break some myths to some uninformed individuals about child support. First and foremost, child support is enforced by the federal government. Did you catch that? It is enforced by the federal government so that a woman with a child who doesn't have a live-in father, or his father's not with the mother living in the same house, does not have to go to the federal government for assistance. That's what it's there for. You wondering why you can't go after women for child support fraud? It's because this it is enforced by the state with the power of the federal government. So to go after the woman is to go after the state. Is to go after the state. Is to go after the federal government. That's one. That's one. Two. It's Photoshop. Oh well, I'm here now. Two, I hear individuals talk about, the state and what they're doing, what they're trying to do. Again, if it wasn't for the federal government, the state wouldn't have no leg to stand on. The reason why they can enforce jail, and the reason why they can enforce tax returns, and the reason why they can enforce anything they enforce, because it's federal law. So before you get your have your dog on with the woman, she went to the state to get child support out of you. Now, before we even get started with her going to the state, I told y'all, be careful who you have sex with and have babies by. It's a jungle out here, and don't nobody owe you safety. You gotta look after yourself. In saying that, she take you to child support court, and if you are found to be the father, that's why the voluntary. That's why Tennessee. I hope Tennessee passed the mandatory voluntary, the mandatory paternity test for unmarried fathers, so that when that enforcement comes down, a child is paying for a man is paying for a child that is his, and the biological father can legally come in and have rights and so forth and so on. So you talking this? Everybody talking this. The states need to have a card to show what the mother is spending the money on for it. The federal government just don't want them taking resources from them. And if it gets too hard for the mother, then I would suggest to you, ask her to kind of hand them over. Ask the child mother to hand them over, and then you, every man with all this brilliance, that you pay for child care, and he's 2 months old. You got to make sure that he go back and forth to the daycare. Why? Because you got to go to work. You can't work all those crazy hours grinding on your. Well, I ain't gonna say you can't do it. It's tough to do it when you have to pick the baby up by 6 in the afternoon or 6 in the evening, and 6 at night. It's tough. Then going home, preparing bottles, feeding them, changing them, trying to get something done because you want to move up. Because Andrew Tate told you you're a brokey. You can't do that holding the baby. Well, it's tough to do it holding the baby. And that woman don't live another life. So before you get to talking about what mothers are doing or not doing with the money, I understand it's frustrating because what it is you're on child support, and you believe as though if I'm giving you money every single week or every 2 weeks, then that should be sufficient enough to take care of whatever he needs. Well, maybe that's true. $300 a week or whatever, how much money it is, most of the time it is sufficient. But we all know the people who complain about that are the individuals who really ain't paying that much in child support. I never seen a person who Kim Kardashian ain't complaining, $200,000 a month. Kanye ain't asking what she's doing with the money. Kanye ain't asked nothing. People who paying 10 grand a month ain't asking nothing. It is what it is. We taking it. Individuals taking their lick. It's the ones who rather get by. Who hey, hey, I shouldn't have to pay for this, and I give you $500 a month. What do you need money for? Why aren't you buying school clothes money out the child support? It's $500 a month. Now, fellas, I'm gonna say this: $500 a month, damn can't feed a teenager. You talking about eating? We ain't talking about buying no clothes. We talking about eating. See, we talking about eating. See, $500 can't really do nothing for a teenager. He's 12 years old. Well, you may say, well, you can't spend the money on gas. Well, how you gonna get to school? What I'm gonna do? What you gonna do? Get an Uber? She gonna pay for him an Uber every day? I can just go on about my life. You make sure he get back and forth to school? No, you're not. So yeah, that baby mama gonna need some gas money. Or in my instance, I'm thankful for my son, mama. I ain't on that bullshit. I ain't on child support. But all financially comes to me. It come in my door. It come in my door. Hair done, come in my door. Healthcare, come in my door. Medical bills, come in my door. Dinners, come in my door. I provide the money, you provide the time. So. If I got time to do something, I have to go do something. If not, I can't worry about it. See? But fellas, if I were you guys, man, stop bitching at the state about this child support, man, because, and also, it's not the state fault that they enforce child support. It's federal law. 1983. Originally in 1975, but really in child support enforcement, 1983. Look it up. And stop saying that, the state won't single mothers. The state don't want no damn single mothers. Well, let me correct that. Let me correct that because the state profits mightily out the child support system. Was holding up the bill in the state of Tennessee of mandatory paternity test for unwed fathers is because the state's going to lose at least $50 million for the federal government if they implement that. But $50 million over a whole state. In Tennessee, you have 4 major areas, which is Memphis and West Tennessee, Nashville and Middle Tennessee, Knoxville and the Tri-Cities. Those are 4 different areas, and you're talking about $50 million a piece. That includes Jackson, Tennessee, and and Chattanooga. So, you got 6 jurisdictions, $50 million. That's $9 million a piece. $9 million. That's it. And you got, and those are salaries. So, that's a big chunk of money for any entity. But what I'm saying to you is that, brother, it's not the state's responsibility. The state just say, hey, we don't want you to depend on the federal government. It's up to you. Now, how it's used is something totally different. It's these corporations who profit off of division amongst men and women. It's these corporations, not the federal government. The federal government ain't really studying. We just don't want y'all borrow enough of money. So we're going to do what it takes. We're going to allow the states to do what it takes for y'all not to borrow the federal government for money. That's what we're going to do. And so with the power behind that, brother, if I were you, man, again, be careful who you lay down with. Because, yes, a woman can use the state against you. That's a weapon for her. That's a weapon for her. So if you know the woman can use the state against you in a matter of child support, and child support is enforced by the federal government, unless you have a military, whether to overtake the federal government or a military to enforce whatever penalty damage that you think the federal government has done to you, then if I were you, I would be careful who I picked up. I'd be careful who I gave my time to. So if I were you guys, man, all this, the state weaponized this, the state don't weaponize nothing. The state don't weaponize a thing. It's that woman that uses the state as a weapon against you. It's that woman. It's not the state. The state's sitting there minding its own business. It's not until that woman goes down there and weaponizes the state against you. Weaponize that federal law against you. It's nothing to do with the state. The state ain't calling them and say, hey, I know you and Brother Ray broke up, so you know what I mean? You want some money? No, sir. You got to go. The woman got to go in there and file. Go to the Department of Human Services and file. Child support. Until she files, it's all well and good. She never files. She never on child support. And there's plenty of women out there who ain't collecting child support and have one downtown to Department of Human Services to weaponize the state and the federal government against that man and his wages. But most of those men, matter of fact, all of those men know he need to come out of his pocket with something. So if you ain't ready, and I can't say you ladies don't weaponize the state and the federal government against these men. I don't know. Because in order for that to be federal law, there had to be a groundswell of women coming to the federal government using up its resources. And the federal government just, hey, if they on, especially on public assistance, if they're on public assistance, then they find out you the father, you're going to have to pay that money. Understand something? The federal government is a business. That's why the enforcement is the way it is. That's why they threaten you with jail. That's why they take your tax return. It's all child support enforcement, which is enforced by the federal government. So unless the state of Tennessee wouldn't get a dime from me if I file federal my tax return. It go once it hits the federal government. Oh, you owe us $30 million. So we're gonna take this $30 million and we're gonna give it to the state. And when the state get their cut, they'll give it to that woman. And so people, oh man, child support fraud. She committed a paternity fraud. Oh, no, she did not. No, she did not. Because the in federal law, once paternity is established, They have to make an effort towards establish paternity. That's federal law. If there's no effort to establish establish paternity, then she had no case. She's suing for child support. See, a lot of times, and they really doing that. A lot of times they're doing that to get public assistance, and they put it on somebody that's a lot of guys who got life sentences. Individuals in jail who got life sentences with no possibility of parole, they're gonna die in jail. They put them babies on him, and he locked up. So he ain't here. He got life sentence. So go ahead, let me get them food stamps from that wicked that Section 8. It's how it's used. It wasn't invented to be this way, but it's how it's used. It's just like guns. Guns don't kill people. Guns don't kill people. Guns can be used for a matter of aggression to kill somebody or a matter of self-defense or deterrent. It's all in how it's used, but it's there for a reason. It's there for a purpose. So with that being said, I'm through my child, and also, just some news y'all can use before you blow a fuse and have the blues. If you ever in arrearage for child support, to keep from going to jail from child support, you can file bankruptcy. You can file bankruptcy. But what that bankruptcy will not do, bankruptcy would not alleviate from paying future child support. What that bankruptcy would do is, hey, I owe this as a debt to the state, to the federal government. I owe this. I'm going to make the arrangements to pay this. It's rearage. Okay? And while I'm paying this, then I can pay this. And that should keep you out of jail. All right, I'm through rambling on. But, hey, man, say, man, hey, get the one that like you, not the one you like. The federal government, state, strictly business. Strictly business. Nothing personal. They ain't trying to hurt me, and we really don't care. Man, listen, we over here mind our business. You long as you pay your taxes like everyone else, we ain't really study like that. But if that woman come with that child support and you ain't got no money, hey man, hey say, we need to get out. We giving that woman federal assistance. We need to get that. So that's it. That's y'all time. Talk to y'all later.